Hello, quick video on weight fluctuation, which I promised after doing the last few videos on like weight management and manipulation. After this one we'll go into like that dynamic stuff and then I'll move on to the next topic. I think we'll see, just try to stretch out all this content, you know. Before we start, could you like and subscribe in the corner and comment and like, do anything to help the algorithm basically. So weight fluctuation. Biggest thing to accept here. The reason why I wanted to do this as well is if you do weigh yourself, or if you're going to start weighing yourself, giving you information on it is hopefully is then going to help you understand it a bit more, so then you won't get that emotional and want to throw your skills out the window if it's not doing what you're doing, not doing what you want it to do. But that's the idea behind this. So weight fluctuation, it happens. You can't predict it. You can't. You as an individual person can maybe start seeing what your weight's going to do in a trend in a sense. So what I mean by that is, if I stand on a scale the night before and then I weigh myself in the morning, I am likely to lose 1 kilo. It's just something I've noticed in myself. But when I was with my coach about 10 years ago, I was walking that much and I was eating that much that I'd stand on the scales the night before and the next morning I'd be about 2 kilos lighter. Why was I standing on the scales before? It was just out of curiosity basically. But those little things, if you start weighing yourself, you can maybe start noticing things like that. But again, that's completely up to yourself. Guesswork, it's technically guesswork when you stand on the scales, because unless you spend a lot of money trying to figure out like how much fat you've got and how much muscle you've got, things like DEXA scans and that, all you're really doing is guessing what you weigh. But as long as if you've got a goal in mind, trying to lose weight or trying to gain weight, as long as it's going down, as long as the average is going down or it's going up, depending on your goal, that's all that really counts. And then you just have to assume that you're losing fat and you're building muscle. Again, unless you want to spend a lot of money on DEXA scans and shit like that. That's nothing I want to do. But and the whole guesswork thing is same with calories as well. Like if you go to a restaurant and you're told, oh, there's 500 calories in this, is there really? Because then you're depending on a chef cooking that to absolute perfection and have like the right weight of chips or the right weight of chicken or anything like that. So all this whole fitness thing is technically guesswork, but if you have good habits in place and you roughly know how many calories you're eating and things like that, you're going to be doing pretty well. You know, you could have a calorie target of 2,300 calories and then you choose various things to eat, and can you guarantee in your head that you've only ate 2,300 calories, or maybe have you ate 2,400 calories but you're still coming down in weight? Like things like that. And we'll talk about like the laws of averages and tracking methods and stuff later on, but it's just something to be aware of, that even though you're potentially tracking your weight, you're still technically guessing in a roundabout sense. These things over here are things that will affect your weight in some way. There's probably tons more, but these are the ones that I thought of just before I started this video. I've only got 13, which is freaking me out a wee bit. But things like what you eat the night before you go to bed, how much liquid you have before you go to bed, when did you last exercise, how well was your sleep, like stress, all that sort of stuff. The heat, you know, during the night and things like that, how much you sweat during, all that sort of stuff will affect the number that the scale number. So how often should you do it? We'll get into that down here as well, but I'd say once isn't enough a week. I think, is it Weight Watchers that does it, like get in front of get in front of people and stand on the scales and stuff. I'd personally say one isn't enough. It's not absolutely useless, but if you've done it maybe 3 or 4 times, you'll then start cutting through like what actual weight fluctuation, you'll start cutting through like some of the weight fluctuations basically. And as I said, as long as on average it's going downwards or upwards depending on your goal, you'll be doing pretty well. Again, not to say that weighing yourself once a week is useless, but that means there's 6 other days there that you could be losing weight. But then if you jump back on the 7th day and your weight's up, you're like, this isn't working, when it has actually been. But just something to be wary of. So how often should you do it? Again, 3 or 4 times a week, but I'll repeat this down here. You can do 7 days a week if you want, but some people might become obsessed with it. But also some people might like to weigh themselves 7 days a week because it means there's absolutely no like margin for error, no room for error. I do it 7 times a week, and it's just because I've done it for that long. But again, it's up to yourself. Weighing yourself, like through studies in that, weighing yourself has shown that People who weigh themselves have much more control over their body weight. So if you think things are spiraling out of control, you're just eating a fuckload of food, your jean sizes are going up, or your dress sizes, or that's my cat trying to get into the fucking house, if you can hear that scratching. If your jean sizes or dress sizes, if you're male or female, males wear dresses as well now apparently, if they're all going up but you don't weigh yourself, maybe start trying to do it and then see if that helps you get a grasp on it. Again, because there's studies to prove that. Sorry if I've repeated that. The cat really threw me off there. This also, that it kind of ties in with the whole sort of money thing. If you are overspending every month, what would you do? You'd start looking at your bank statements, see where you can save money. Like, weighing yourself is technically the same. There's just a lot more, people scrutinise people who weigh themselves and stuff, and I just think it's bonkers. But anyway, a few tips here. Weigh yourself 3 or 4 times a week ideally. Nothing wrong with one, but you're leaving a lot of it up to guesswork if you just do once. And up 7, it's up to yourself. You might get a bit more of a grasp if you do it 7 times a week. Completely up to yourself. Try and keep level-headed when you're weighing yourself. So if you're 70 kilos, but the next again day you're 69 kilos, and then the following day after that you jump up to 69.5, and you're like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, just calm down, because you'll start potentially, if you start looking at your numbers and you see they're on a downward trend, again, things are moving in the right direction. It's just that you assuming that you're going to jump on the scales every night or every day, and it being low every time, it's not really realistic, because that's not how your weight, that's not what happens with your weight. But again, on an average, every week if it's going downwards, you're doing pretty well, or upwards depending on your goal. If you think you're plateauing, so your weight stays the same for a few weeks, maybe leave it between 2 to 4 weeks before you start changing, like upping your calories, upping your cardio, for example, or lowering your calories, because you don't want to do it too quickly and then be chasing your cell at the very end. You don't want to cut calories too low that you didn't have to, for example. You can also practice good habits in here, like you can practice like maintenance phase, like eating to maintain your weight. There's plenty, whatever situation, and there's things to learn about yourself that I think's always got to be a benefit. And the last thing here is ideally weigh yourself in your underwear. This isn't me trying to get you naked, but weigh yourself in your underwear, ideally before you have your breakfast, and any liquids, and then after you go to the toilet, if you needed it. And the reason for that is that's got to create the most consistent method of weighing yourself, if that makes sense. So, you know, if you were to start wearing different clothes and then eating before you weigh yourself, and it could be anything, like it could be multiple different things that you have on different types of foods on different days, that's then got to skew the numbers. So you want to try and keep, when you weigh yourself, you want to try and keep it as consistent as possible, or keep the situation that you weigh yourself in as consistent as possible, and that's the best way. In your underwear before food and liquid, and after you go to the toilet if you need it. That is me done. How long did I do that in? 9 minutes. Before 10 minutes. Perfect. So that's me done. I will see you in the next video about the dynamic equations.